You're tuned in to Agriculture Today, and we continue our show discussing the K-State Ag Profitability Conferences, making sense of a shifting ag economy. And then to talk about it, we're joined by K-State Extension farm economist Robin Reed and K-State's Agricultural Economics Department Head and Professor Alan Featherstone. Robin, Alan, thank you both so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yep, thank you, Shelby.
Discussing this K-State Ag Profitability Conference, Alan, what is it?
The goal of this is to help crop producers deal with the struggling economy. To give a little bit of an indication of where we've been in 2021, just a few short years ago, 4.4% of Kansas farmers had a negative net farm income. We look at 2024 and that increased to 28.5%. And so we have a number of individuals that are struggling with regards to the agricultural economy. The situation in 2024 was actually a little bit better than it would have been, simply because we had a $10 billion payment from the federal government to help the farm economy. There is talk about having a $15 billion payment this fall. And if that occurs, certainly I think it's important for farmers to think through how they would invest that money on their farm to maybe prepare for a difficult 2026 and a difficult 2027. Hopefully income will bounce up and they won't have a difficult 26, 27. But I think it's always good to prepare to deal with the situation that we have in the crop economy moving forward.
Is this conference then to look at where we've been in the ag economy to where we might be going, or how to help manage what might happen in the future?
The goal is to help manage what might happen in the future. And so there's certain things that farmers can look at doing to better position themselves to deal with difficult situations. And so the goal of this conference will be to help producers think through what can we do in the future such that if we do have a couple more difficult years, how can we position ourselves to be in a good place when profitability on the crop sector improves?
And what are a few of the different topics that will be taking place for this Ag Profitability Conference and the days at multiple different locations starting at 8:30?
One of the things we will do is we'll kind of look at kind of the current situation, and the current situation is made more difficult just with the uncertainty with regards to tariffs and trade. And so there'll be a little bit of discussion there with where we are. The other thing that we'll end up having is a little bit of discussion with regards to current profitability and managing expenses, things to think about in order to reduce some of those expenses. And then Robin can maybe talk about some of the other topics.
Yeah, so the topic that I'll be covering and Dr. Jenny If will really focus on agricultural policy and the One Big Beautiful Bill Act that was passed earlier this year. A lot of the elements that we typically think of in a farm bill were actually in that One Big Beautiful Bill Act. So enhancements to crop insurance, enhancements to ag risk coverage, price loss coverage. We don't, when we have a new farm bill, we normally do a program just on that. But with the smaller changes this year, they're going to be very beneficial to farmers, but we're going to include them in this agricultural profitability conference. So again, that'll be crop insurance, government programs. We're also going to talk a bit about land values. Our normal land values book is coming out that same time frame. So as we, I'll look at profitability in the agricultural sector, we know that's very tied to land values. And with how strong they increased in the last 4 to 5 years, everybody's wondering, where is that going to go? So we'll have an indication as we get that land values book out. And so we're including that on this program. Another couple topics that we're going to cover with these ag profitability conferences that you may not think as traditionally is, one of them we're going to talk about just stress. So as farmers, we know there's a lot of stress going on just with the uncertainty of the government payments. As Dr. Featherstone talked about, uncertainty with the trade situation, and just a lot of stress going on out there. So we want to just talk about that a little bit and make sure farmers feel like they're supported in this difficult time. And finally, we're going to end with a topic on, is it time to retire, or what about the next generation? So all of our farms across Kansas are in different places on this, but we know there's a generation of baby boomer farmers out there that are maybe thinking about, is now the time to retire? Do I want to go through the next couple of years here where we might have lower commodity prices? And even if they don't, maybe now is the time to bring that next generation back. And, we think of, in a down economy, there's not enough profitability, but this is also a great time to bring a new manager in, the next generation, and let them experience this down farm economy and how to be a good manager to make it through. So there's a number of facets we're going to talk about with that, but wherever a farm is within its generations, I think that topic is also pertinent to any operation.
And on the agenda, it shows that there's a panel during lunchtime. And does that vary through the different locations?
So our idea on that is we wanted to have an opportunity for the audience just to ask questions, because sometimes what we think are on farmers and ranchers' mind maybe aren't everything. So by having those panels, we can have open discussion of some of the issues that are on top of the mind for farmers and ranchers. And those panel members are going to include some of our KFMA economists, partly some of our Farm Service Agency personnel, some of us that'll be coming to speak on the program, and just trying to get a wide breadth of expertise that we can try to address any issue that comes up.
For people in Burlington, will they also have a chance to hear about the cattle market?
Yeah, so that was something we couldn't just cram into one day conference, but in that Burlington location, we know that is really the heart of the Flint Hills grazing area and having a lot of cattle influence. And, obviously prices are really high right now for beef cattle, but how long will that continue? What's the crystal ball in that respect? So we're going to be bringing Dr. Glenn Tonzer down to that location, and he will be doing a beef cattle outlook on that location only. I will say we will have 9 locations in person, but when we get done at the end of the series, we're going to have an online version of the program as well, if it doesn't work out to attend any of the in-person locations.
Why would you encourage an ag producer to attend one of these events?
One of the things is that a lot of times having interaction when you're going through difficult times is good. And so being able to understand that you're not the only one in this difficult time, that it's more of an economic, broader situation. And the other thing is there's a lot of experience in Kansas. Some have weathered downturns before. And so sometimes being able to hear and interacting with an audience provides ideas for those that maybe this is their first downturn. And so to me, certainly interacting with the presenters, but also interacting with the audiences, I think can be very beneficial, just to understand that there are ways to manage through this. There is going to be light at the end of the tunnel. But the goal is to help those that maybe this is their first downturn to move through that tunnel unscathed.
I will add to that too. We're also going to talk about opportunities that are maybe going to present themselves in a different situation that we've had in the past. We don't want it to sound like it's all doom and gloom out there. There is definitely going to be some marketing opportunities and maybe opportunities to try some new crops or work on diversifying your crops to complement your cow herd, and different ideas that maybe can be communicated during these meetings as well. So just want to put that positive spin on it too, that we really are promoting these as profitability conferences, as that's the focus.
When and where are these 9 conferences taking place?
We're going to start on December 9th here in Manhattan, Kansas with our first location. And then we have December 11th in Burlington, December 17th in Hiawatha, January 13th in Mankato, January 14th in Colby, January 15th in Hayes, and then February 3rd in Garden City, February 4th in Kingman, and February 5th in Erie. And we'll be hitting those 9 locations, and we really encourage people to come in person. But again, we will have an online version of this program when we get later into February.
Is registration consistent through all of those locations, or does it vary?
The registration amount does vary by location depending on what meal they're serving and what local sponsors they have. So to really get the information for your local location, it's best to go on our website, agmanager.info/profitability, or look for the Ag Profitability Conferences. Or if you heard a location there that you know you want to go to, just call the local extension office and they can get you registered there as well.
Robin, Alan, I appreciate you both taking the time to join us today.
Thanks,
Thank
Shelby.
you, Shelby.
That was K-State Extension farm economist Robin Reed and K-State's Agricultural Economics Department Head and Professor Alan Featherstone. If you'd like to check out more information about these K-State Ag Profitability Conferences, I will put a link in today's show notes on agtoday.net. We're cutting to a short break now, but we'll be right back.